Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. Today we're going to talk about Apple, the number one holding in my personal portfolio. Absolutely crushed earnings and outperformed all the other major tech stocks. What the hell did they do to deserve this?
I don't know. It just never ends. They're just always too good. All right. Two Super Guys Trade Stocks.
All right. Hence the thumbnail here, unstoppable. That is what Apple is. It is ridiculous to watch this company operate, grow, continue to reward shareholders. Insane.
I was really hoping we were going to hit 125 and I was going to buy a bunch, and we just didn't hit it.
Yeah. I'm proud to say I've owned Apple as my number one holding since like 2017, and like a cost basis is like $40 a share or something insane like that at this point.
Great.
So absolutely love it, and I continue to sell cover calls against it to generate a little bit of revenue. I should do a separate video on that. Anyways, nice earnings reaction here. 7.5% pop on the day after earnings. That's a sexy number right there, right?
Yes, it is.
Uh,
Especially after all
Especially
this.
when you put it in context with all the other major tech caps like earnings here. Amazon reported same day, down 7%. They were, a lot of these are much more volatile, had much worse like after hours performance.
Yeah,
Um,
Amazon
you
was
know,
down 20.
yeah. Meta, I've been buying Meta though, I'll tell you that, but that's not a Meta video. See one of our other ones linked above here. So got absolutely destroyed. And these are all good companies in their own right. But why is Apple so much more successful? All right. This is I listened to the earnings call. This is another funny one, right? So the word record was said 36 times in the conference call, right? In Tim Cook's opening remarks in the conference call alone, 11 times. I know you love to buy a lot of garbage companies, Dylan, but if you want to hear what actually successful companies' earnings call
I
sounds like,
bought
this is a
one.
great one.
I bought
You know,
Fubo. That's the only one. That's it. There's just too much of
uh,
one.
I'm messing with you entirely.
Hate it.
But basically, this is how the conference call went. They just took their arm and they just like patted themselves on the back, and we're absolutely masters universe. Ridiculous though.
You know,
The
it
CFO
is
said record
interesting.
24 times.
24 times?
24 for the CFO.
It is interesting. When the initial numbers came out, they were actually down until the earnings call started. They were
Yeah.
down 3 to 4% and staying down until they started talking.
Yeah, so I watched it with the actual ticker, like in the corner, to see like what how it progressed throughout it. It was kind of as the CFO was starting to talk, where it really kind of turned green in my
Yeah.
recollection, I guess you could say. And Tim Cook also dropped this little factoid about the services segment of Apple, that it alone would be a Fortune 50 company. All right. So these are the headline numbers. $90 billion in revenue, up 8% or year over year. That's part of the reason why they outperformed compared to the other major tech stocks, is that they're much larger in many ways, and they expect a lot less in terms of revenue growth from them. All right. And this closes out their fourth quarter of their 2022. They have a different calendar than the typical calendar, but so the whole year was up 8%. And as Cook kind of kept reminding everyone, that's on the tail of like a 30+% year over year growth. That they
Yeah.
didn't take a step back like many other companies did. They continue to grow even past that new elevated bar, which is
Almost
ridiculous.
everyone across the board 2020 had like a record banner year, like 25%, 50% increased growth. And then the following year or this year, it's corrected. But apparently they're just a train that's not stopping here.
No, no, they are completely unstoppable. They talked about how they generated, $24 billion in operating cash flow, and they used $29 billion to return to shareholders. They're trying to get back to a kind of, I forget what he called it, but cash neutral position as far as that goes. They don't want to be just sitting on the 100+ billion in cash and marketable securities that they have in the balance sheet at this point. They're trying to pay that out to shareholders, doing share repurchases when the prices they feel are correct. Um, yeah, so you're talking about, when you talk about the they're capped another record-breaking year for Apple, with revenue growing over 20 billion, operating cash flow over $18 billion versus last year.
That's absolutely
Yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. On top of, like I said, the previous ridiculous year. When you're talking about the kind of earnings by segment here, obviously products and services. And this is what I was saying, how like even the services segment alone on Apple would be a Fortune 50 business, is what Tim Cook had mentioned. That this to give you, so overall their kind of their gross margin was like 43%. The gross margin for the services business 70%.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
that is
absolutely insane.
despite the fact that it had significant currency headwinds, right? As you know, the king dollar right now is another thing that's been playing havoc against all these major tech stocks. Is that they earn a lot of revenue outside the United States. When they repatriate that at this lower kind of currency conversion rate, that it doesn't look quite as good. So you're talking about 7% or more in terms of hit to revenue based upon that currency
Yeah,
conversion.
it's crazy.
Yeah. And then, this is the sexiness right here when we get to the actual cash flow statement. So net income, just under $100 billion, for the year, of which $90 billion of that was used to repurchase shares.
Wow,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. That's your favorite thing.
I mean, there's not much better way to get money back to. Well, I
They,
shouldn't say that. For a large terminal, like full grown company to return money to shareholders, this is really the way. They can't make acquisitions big enough to move the balance sheet at this point. Dividends are okay. I don't have a problem with dividends, but they're tax inefficient, right? It's not my favorite way of a company rewarding shareholders.
why don't
If they
they?
can invest,
They
what's
could
that?
just buy Greece and then be like shareholders all get a house there. That could work. That could be a
Do
good return.
Do you really want to see like Santorini as brought to you by Apple?
I don't have any shares, so yes.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No,
Uh,
I don't.
in summation, this slide right here represents the entirety of the earnings call. Tim Cook with the giant eggplant owned
Hmm?
by Apple laying on a bed full of cash. That's basically what it is.
Wow.
You know.
No!
Okay. All right,
So,
guys.
yeah,
Go ahead.
if you're an Apple shareholder and listen to the earnings call and absolutely loved what you heard, by all means, give a like and subscribe. We'd love to have you guys along in this little adventure with us.
Or you could be like me and just missing out. Bye bye.